Hi, everyone. Well, before we get started, I guess it would be on page 271. I figured we better resolve the big question because I figured Aaron's probably at home thinking, boy, does Mr. Bell never change his shirt when he's off school? Well, Aaron, and anyone who else might be asking, for the record, I'm recording all these videos on the same night, so it is the same shirt in every video. Okay, so on page 267, the communicate questions, they absolutely cannot be done without or without doing the work on it from the previous couple of pages. Now, if you were to do the work on it following the instructions that they give you in the book, your mothers would kill me for the mess that you'd be making in the house with this. So I am actually going to assign this to you if you have not done it already. But instead of doing it with the flour pan and cocoa powder and all that stuff, I am going to send you outside to go do this. So I want you to do the experiment using some rocks, and I want you to do it on a few different surfaces. So if you can find a spot where it's kind of soft and muddy still, I want you to do this experiment there. Then I want you to find another spot where it's kind of dry soil, if possible. Do your experiment there. Then in a sandy area, please do that there, a flat sandy area. And if this gravel pile still exists on the east side of the new houses, I would actually like you to try this experiment by going and throwing a rock into it to see what type of craters you're going to get. So please stop this video if you haven't done that experiment. Go outside and throw rocks. It's the only time you're ever going to hear me tell you to do that. So pause now, go do the experiment, make sure you're recording it and doing sketches of the crater impacts you're going to make with the rocks, okay? So you're doing it outside, not in the house. Go do it now, hit pause, and then come back. Okay, I hope you listened to me, you paused the video, and you're now back after you're done doing your recordings and doing your sketches. Okay, so now that you've done the experiment, we can go over the communicate questions. So on question number 1, it says, using your sketches, describe what your simulated craters look like. Label the sketches with the following terms: crater basin, the impression left on the surface, the rim, the area around the edge of the basin, and rays, streaks that radiate from the center of the basin. Now, when you do this, your sketches should be clearly drawn and accurately labeled. Now, it's going to be pretty easy to get the crater basin and the rim, but with this experiment, it's going to be hard to detect the rays. Now, that's why I wanted you to do it in a kind of like a soft, muddy soil. It might be a little bit easier to find rays on that, but on all the other surfaces, it's going to be difficult to find. So if you didn't find any rays from your experiment, that's okay. Question number 2. How did the size of rock or meteorite that we threw affect the size of the crater? Compare the sizes of the crater and the rock. How many times greater is the crater than the rock? So obviously, the larger the rock, the larger the crater is going to be. Now, astronomers have discovered that meteoroids cause craters usually about 20 times their size. Now, with our experiments, most likely we aren't going to get a crater 20 times the size. Just because no matter how hard we throw it, we're not going to be able to throw it as fast as a meteoroid flying across the universe and making an impact on something. So I'd be really interested to see your guys' results on this one, and let me know how many times bigger your crater was. Okay, question 3. How did the height from which you dropped the rock affect the size of the crater? So now with this experiment, we're going to have a few little variables, a few little blips, unless we're doing it like each rock 100 times. but generally the rule is the higher the drop, the bigger the crater. Question 4. What effect did the shape of the rock have on the shape of the crater? Did this surprise you? Now, you might have a few little variables that affected your impacts, but generally, whenever there is an impact, regardless of the shape of the rock or meteoroid, it generally always leaves a round crater. Question number 5. What other questions do you have about how craters are formed? How might you answer these questions? If you did a KW L chart, so a K, what you already knew, what W, what you learned, L, what you still want to learn. If you make one of those and send it to me, I'd sure like to see what you came up with and see what you still want to learn and what you are thinking of for solving those questions. One little extra assignment to do with this is I would like you to go on the internet and look up Crater Lake in the United States. It is a phenomenal crater that you can take a look at. Also, please look for the crater in Arizona. I believe it's in Crater National Park in the United States in Arizona. It's a massive crater, really neat to see.